Hey, big guy. So, I haven't shot any video since the last time I put out an update. I'm leaving for Dragon Drive in 8 days, and the car is pretty much back together, but not much more than that. So, I got the engine and the trans back together in the car with the new SFI bell housing. That was a pain in the ass with the hydraulic throwout bearing, so thanks to my friend Dustin for helping me out with that. However, I then had some problems getting the car started. I was using an MSD ignition box that I picked up used, and I fought that for 4 or 5 days trying to get the car started, and was having weak spark. The car would start idle for a few seconds, shut off, very hard starting, before the box eventually crapped out and I had no spark at all. So I went back to the HEI ignition. Had to Frankenstein a couple different distributors together to get one that was working with the HEI module and magnetic pickup and everything. So we're not doing timing control with the fuel injection. ACES will be fuel only. I then had more problems with the hydraulic clutch. I was trying out the clutch slipper that I installed. And it turns out if you have that engaged and you pump the clutch a couple times, you can overstroke the hydraulic slave. And so it came apart inside the bell housing. I had to pull the transmission again to sort that out. And I figured I can't really risk that happening again while I'm on the road far from home. I know it is user error. So I decided to go to an external slave setup. So I fabricated something up with a 1990 Nissan pickup, external slave using the original 55 Chevy clutch fork with the Chevy 2 bell housing. It does run pretty close to the header, so I've got some heat wrap on there. We'll see how that shakes out. If I end up boiling the fluid driving down the road or idling in the pits or whatever, might be a problem. So there were basically 4 pieces I was adding onto the car for the purpose of drag racing. The first was the clutch slipper valve. I'm not sure if I'm going to be using that now. I need to rewire it to be a little safer so that I don't break the slave cylinder again. The second piece was 2-step launch control through the MSD box, which I no longer have, so we're not doing that. The third piece is a brake line lock, which I installed and is not working. The solenoid's engaging, but it's not holding pressure, so I'll have to see if I have time to fix that. And the fourth piece was I installed a nitrous kit on the car, but given that we're 8 days out and I have 10 miles on the fuel injection and no time to tune it, we're not going to be running the nitrous kit either. So we're 0 for 4 for the drag racing part of the program. So I did rewire all of the gauges in the car too. Some of it's now going through the ACES handheld. All the gauges now are working except for the fuel level. I don't know if I'll have time to fix that, but I do know the car goes about 250 miles on a tank. So I can use the trip meter to do that. That's not a big deal. I have found out in testing that the baffles in the tank are not very good. This is a new Tanks Inc. EFI tank. So when the car is below about a quarter tank, going up hills or accelerating hard, it loses fuel pressure and shuts off. So I have to keep the tank more full than I would with the carburetor. That's not great. With the new RideTech control arms I have in, I was able to get a much better alignment in the car. So I just did that at home with a digital angle finder, made some swivel plates. So I've got about 7 degrees of caster in the car, half a degree of negative camber, 1/16 toe in. Car's driving much straighter down the road than it was before with the previous control arms and almost no caster. I did also swap in some 1-inch lowering springs in the rear. I don't know what the springs I had before were. I think they were 1-inch lift or 2-inch lift. So the stance of the car sits a lot better now. I did also cut a hole in the bed and put in a little bit of a notch for the control arms, the upper control arms, because with the anti-hop bars, even with the lift springs, full compression, they would hit the bed. So now that stops that from happening. However, with the lowering springs, I do notice when the suspension compresses hard, I'm hearing some metal on metal noise. There's no witness marks in the drive shaft, so I'm not exactly sure what it is. I might swap some stock springs back in just to lift the rear up, especially since I'm carrying some tools and things for drag and drive. I mounted some Milwaukee boxes in the back so I can bring all my pack out tools and spare parts and things. Also on test drives, I had a problem twice where shifting very hard from 2 to 3 at high RPM, the shifter hangs up. The transmission stays in second, the shifter goes into neutral, and then you can't shift after that. So I've adjusted the shift gates. It is a Hurst Competition Plus shifter. Have to see if it happens again. Otherwise, just have to be a little gentler when shifting. I mean, this all sounds pretty doom and gloom, but we're going to get to the event. We're going to make passes down the track. It's all going to be okay. I'm just there to have fun. This is just a fun way to set a deadline on getting a bunch of work done on the car. And so whatever the outcome is, if I make it there and I make it back, I'm pretty happy. I'm not going to really have any time to tune on the car before I even drive up. So the 500 kilometers to get to the track is going to be the clutch break-in and any fine tuning on the self-learning. That's going to be it. So we'll get there. We'll have a good time, try and make some fast passes, and see what the car can do. Thanks for watching.
Wow, MSB Motorsports. Great moves. Keep it up. I'm proud of you.